Hello children, welcome to Momita ma'am's class. Today we would be discussing the second poem of your first flight book, that is Fire and Ice once again by Robert Frost. Now fire and ice, these two are the two negative things, two opposite things. Fire represent warmth, heat, and ice represent coldness. Now fire here symbolizes greed and desire, whereas ice represent hatred. Now in this poem the poet says that these two negative things, that is desire and lust along with hatred, is enough to end the whole world, to destroy the whole world. Now the poem, some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Now, in this poem, the difficult meanings are perish, that is to be destroyed or to die, and also suffice, that means be sufficient. Now the poet says that some people say that the world will end in fire. That is, as I have told you, fire symbolizes greed, lust, and desire. So according to some people, the world will come to an end because of our excessive greed, lust and desire. Now children, what happens if we are too greedy, if we have too much of desire, we are ready to go to any extent, we do not even stop killing each other in order to get our desire fulfilled, as a result of which the people die and ultimately the whole world will perish. Right? So some say that the world will end in fire, that is, world destruction will come to end because of excessive greed, lust and desire among humanity. But there are other people who hold the view that the world will end in ice, that is hatred and jealousness. So while fire symbolizes greed, lust and desire, ice symbolizes hatred and jealousness or jealousy. Now the poet is saying that some say the world will be destroyed in fire, but what I have tasted of desire, that is, here the poet talks about his own experience. Now the poet say that what he understands from his own experience of life, what he has tasted of desire, what he has understood about wants and desire in life, he favors the view of those people who think that the world will end in fire, that is excessive greed, lust and desire. Right? Now none of these, that is ending of the world in fire and ending of the world in ice, are the poet's opinion. These are the opinion of the people. But the poet supports that group of people who believe that the world will end in fire. Right? Now again the poet says something else. He says that if it had to perish twice, that is, if it refers to the world. Now he says that if the world has to perish twice, that is, be destroyed, if the world has to be destroyed twice, then I think I know enough of hate. Then the poets say there is enough, there is sufficient of hate. That is jealousy and hatred. Again, another reason, children, why people kill each other. Because they are jealous of someone, they hate each other, right? Because of all these negative emotions, people kill each other, and thus they ultimately bring the world to the verge of destruction. But if it had to perish twice, then I think I know enough of hate. There is enough of hate present that if the world has to be ended two times, then it would be quite sufficient to say that for destruction ice is also great and would sufficient. That is, would be sufficient. So again, I would just go through the meaning of the poem once again. The poet says that there are people who believe that the world will end in fire, and there are also a group of people who believe that the world will end in ice. Now, none of these are the poet's opinion. These are the opinion of the common people. But he favors the opinion of those people who believe that the world will end in fire. However, this is his own experience. However, he also says that if the world has to be destroyed two times, then there is also enough of hatred and jealousy that can reduce the world to ashes, that can bring a total annihilation of mankind and destroy the whole world, right? So that is the end of the poem. Now we would discuss the rhyme scheme here. Now, as you see, the rhyme scheme in the poem is A, B, A, A, C, B, A, B, C and B, C, B. Now, I'll show you how it happens. See, fire. It rhymes with desire. Again with fire. So, these are all A, right? Ice rhymes with twice, and again with ice, and again with suffice. So these are all B, 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 B. And then hate. I'll change the ink. It matches with great. So these are C, C. Thus the rhyme scheme here is A, B, A, B, C and B, C, B. So this is the rhyme scheme, children. Okay, now regarding the figure of speech, we find here many figures of speech in this poem. I'll discuss the figures of speech one by one. In the first line, first of all, we would look in the first line. In the first line, we have three figures of speech: anaphora, alliteration, and assonance. Now, what is anaphora? Anaphora is the repetition of same word in the beginning of consecutive sentences. I spell it anaphora. It's spelled as ANAPHORA. In the first line, we have anaphora. First and second line. See, some say and some say. So this is anaphora. Anaphora means repetition of same word or same words in the beginning of sentences, in the beginning of the consecutive sentences, right? So first thing we have in line number 1 is anaphora. Okay, now the second thing we have here is alliteration. Some say. Sir, S sound repeated consecutively, so it's alliteration. ALLITERATION. So we got an anaphora and in line 1 and 2, and in line 1 we also get alliteration. Okay, and we also get an assonance here. Assonance has already been discussed in Dust of Snow. Again I repeat, it's A S S O N A N C E. Now what is an assonance? Assonance is the use of vowel sound, repetition of vowel sound in consecutive words. So see, in the first sentence we have the I sound repeated. Will in fire, right? I repetition of vowel sound. Okay, so we have an assonance here in the first line. Now in line 2, I told you line 1 and 2 there is anaphora, and also in line 2 we also have an alliteration, and the alliteration is some say, again the same thing, sa, right? Now in line 3 there is no figure of speech, that is, there is I don't find any figure of speech in line 3. Now we will move to line number 4. In line 4 again we have 3 figure of speech: alliteration, assonance and consonance. See, I'll tell you, I hold with those who favor fire. Favor fire, first sound repeated, so it's alliteration. Okay, for. Now see, vowel sound, those who favor O sound, repetition of O sound, and repetition of I sound with fire, I. So prominence of O and I sound, again assonance. Consonance is found with and those. Consonants, the sound, with and those. See, here we have the repetition of consonant sounds in the middle and beginning, one in the middle and one in the beginning, so it's consonants. So in line number 4 we have all the 3 figure of speeches like alliteration, assonance and consonants. Okay, now in line 5 there is nothing. Again in line 6 we have assonance, that is, see, line 6, no, enough, of, O sound is repeated here, and I sound is also repeated, I think, I. So 3 I sounds, 3 O sounds. So I and O are vowel. Vowel sounds are repeated. So this is also assonance. Okay. Now after that, in line 7, see, line 7, 8 and 9. I repeat, lines 7, 8 and 9. See, the single sentence is continued from 7 to 8 and from 8 to 9, to say without any punctuation, to say that for destruction eyes is also great and would suffice. So this is enjambment. So the literary devices used in this poem literary devices used in this poem are anaphora, enjambment, alliteration, assonance, and consonance. And I hope I have been able to clearly explain you the meaning and the figure of speech. Along with that, the rhyme scheme has also been made clear. Thank you for attending the session. Keep enjoying.